Women of the Channel Leadership Network. I'm Jackie Rives, your community leader, and welcome to another Woman of the Week. This week, I'm thrilled to introduce you to Alexandra Kehayas, Head of Marketing with Cavelo. Hi, Alexandra. How are you doing?
Hi, Jackie. I'm really good. Thank you so much for having me.
Great. I'm so excited to get to know you. So let's start with the icebreaker questions. Where do you live and where did you grow up, if that's different?
Yeah, so unfortunately, it's not different. I'm just outside of Toronto in Canada, so home of hockey, Tim Hortons, and basically at least 3 seasons of weather in one day.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, in Georgia, we can typically see 3 or 4 seasons in one
So
day
you
too.
feel my
So
pain. Yeah.
I do feel your pain,
It's supposed to
100%.
be spring, but it's a fool's spring, is what we're calling it.
I love it. What is a little known fact about you that you're willing to share with us?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like everyone, all my colleagues and friends and family know I'm a big Swiftie. So I actually, before she released her Canadian dates for her Eras tour, I flew from a work event in Florida to California just to see her and then flew back home the next day. And then I ended up being lucky enough to get tickets to one of her Toronto shows. So I've seen her twice in her Eras tour, and it was the most magical experience I think I've experienced in my life.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. And I would say that is commitment. So
Yes,
that's awesome. Because I've heard those tickets are pretty hard to get too. So,
definitely. Yeah, I felt very fortunate for being able to lock those tickets in.
all right. Well, let's switch gears a little bit. You have a really big title, head of marketing. So tell me about your career path and how you reached the position that you're in today.
Yeah, for sure. So, fun fact, I didn't anticipate being in marketing. I really wanted to become a teacher. I loved the idea of helping people grow and learn. But, somewhere along the way, I fell into the world of marketing and it just clicked. I started out with events. I did that for a few years. And then I joined a luxury retail brand, which was a really cool experience. I was able to learn a lot about brand storytelling and working with global teams. And then from there, I made the leap into tech, specifically cybersecurity, which can feel like a completely different universe when you go from luxury retail to cybersecurity. But I found my groove, and it's obviously been a bit of a winding road, but every step has sort of taught me something different. So, not the classroom that I originally pictured, but it's still very much about growth, just in a bit of a different way.
Yeah, no, I love that we're talking about this because there's, you know, I don't know. For me, it was like a lot of pressure of like, what do I want to be? And then like in my 20s, I'm like, what do I want to be when I grow up? 30s, what do I want to be when I grow up? And like that road just takes you different ways, like from your degree, and you think you know what you have planned. But the good surprises along the way have a way of landing you exactly where you need to be. So I
Yeah.
love that. So let's do please, how about you share what business accomplishment that you are most proud of?
Yeah, for sure. And I guess this sort of goes back to, when you talked about my title of head of marketing. So I would say I was the first marketing hire at Cavelo, and I had the opportunity to build our marketing engine from the ground up. We had such a cool and have such a cool product, but there was zero brand awareness. So I was able to lead a full rebrand, and I launched our events program. I further expanded our partnerships and built out our Cavelo Connect partner community. So I would say launching myself into that, not really knowing what I was doing and just having to figure it out. But then also seeing the pipeline from the programs that I've started was really, really fruitful and rewarding. In addition to sort of, watching team members that I started early on with grow into their roles and, throughout like the last 4 years has been also really, really rewarding.
Gosh, I love hearing your story. It just makes me smile so big for you. That's so exciting to be able to build something from the ground up. And I can imagine that, there would be the potential for opportunities to maybe question your abilities or qualifications to do that. Is that something that you have ever encountered?
100%, all the time. I think
Yeah.
imposter syndrome is like one of those things everyone experiences. It's that like sneaky little monster that just sort of like shows up right when you're about to like level up or when you feel like you're, ready to do that. And
Hmm.
it sort of catches you off guard and you're like, wait, am I actually the right person to be doing this? But confidence doesn't always need to come before action. It can come from taking action. So instead of like backing away from it or being intimidated, I've just tried to lean into things, ask questions, find mentors, really remind myself that no one starts out knowing exactly what they're doing. You don't need to have every answer. You just need to be curious and supportive and open to learning. And I think that mindset has sort of helped me throughout my career.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree with you more. I think also knowing that it happens to others
Yeah.
creates space for us all to just be comfortable with the discomfort, knowing that we're getting into a new skill set or experience and there's going to be tremendous growth with it. So I love that you shared that.
Yeah. I recently, sorry, just to add on to that, I was just going to say I
Yeah.
recently heard something that most people say, like moving forward with things, but a different mindset shift is moving through it. So you're actually like
Mm.
going through and dealing with it and learning from, the experiences that you're put in the situation to deal with and manage. So, yeah.
Yeah, you've got quite a few phrases in here in this question alone that I'm like, ooh, I like that. Like sneaky little monster. I'm liking that. All of these are great, great little tidbits. Okay. I'm going to move to one of my favorites, and that is, what is something you've learned that you wish you knew earlier in your career?
Yeah, I think I feel like all my answers sort of are piggybacking off of, each other.
Yeah.
But no one knows what they're doing 100% of the time. Early on, it's very easy to get caught up in a mindset where, you see someone excelling in their career and you're just starting and you're like, oh, well, they have it figured out. They knew what they were doing right off the bat, but no one really has it all figured out. We're all learning as we go. I think being able to give yourself grace in when you're making decisions or when you're not feeling super confident, taking risks without overanalyzing everything. I have a tendency, I'm a very type A person and everything needs to be done a certain way in like to its like entirety and like perfected, and sometimes it doesn't work out like that, and that's okay that it doesn't work out like that. So just taking a moment to like stop and take a step back and just give yourself some grace and not overanalyze everything.
Yeah, I can totally relate to that type A ism. So those are things I definitely have to tell myself. So I know that that's going to resonate with many of our community members.
I hope so.
Yes. Alexandra, it was so great getting to know you a little bit. I can't wait to continue that conversation and get to know you even more. Thank you for allowing us to celebrate you as our Woman of the Week this week.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to be here.
Yes. All right, community members, please comment, share your insights and feedback. These conversations were meant to continue. Surely give Alexandra a high five for being our Woman of the Week this week. So until next time, have an amazing week.